Your Excellency, the Ambassador for Japan, the Deputy Secretary General of IORA, distinguished guests and friends. I must first express my appreciation of the Government of Japan's measures to enhance cooperation in MDA. This is just one of the measures they have taken. I've known from being in government and out of government how much you have helped us to certainly strengthen our capacity in this field. Because then also the work, I must mention here, that's been done by IORA. The collection, fusion, dissemination and analysis of enormous quantities of data and its effective integration and fusion is a highly complex exercise, further complicated by the disruptions caused by new technologies. So in this field, it is essential that we utilize the help that is given by the Japanese government. Sri Lanka needs to enhance its MDA capacity. We have to be close to Japan, and a closer Japan-Sri Lanka cooperation is highly desirable. There must also be a stronger cooperation between Sri Lankan agencies, both government and non-government. A network of think tanks can make a contribution towards policy and strategy. What is happening in the world? What is happening in the Indian Ocean? How does it impact us in regard to geopolitics, regard to economics, in regard to climate change and other matters affecting the ocean, especially maritime need. We need a maritime intelligence center, which will also feed the National Security Council. We must know what is happening outside. We only look at what's happening inside. The National Hydrographic Act of 2024 has set up the National Hydrographic Office, and we should ensure it functions fully. Then the Colombo Security Conclave and its Secretariat. We just established it last year. We should strengthen it. It will have an important role to play, especially towards the Bay of Bengal. So these are the areas that we have to focus on immediately. Strengthening national capabilities for information gathering in the maritime domain is gaining importance because of also the rise of what we call geopolitics of hydrography. That's a new field that has come in. And it's already, we can see that taking place in the Indian Ocean. And this is where hydrography intersects with our organization, the Geopolitical Cartographer, which I started with some of the others because the Indian Ocean is going to be important. We had to focus fully on the Indian Ocean and the areas around the Indian Ocean, because this is going to be, I think, the important region by mid-century. David Brewster, in Maritime Domain Awareness 3 article, compares the Indian Ocean to the Wild West. But at the moment, the shootout seems to be taking place over the Atlantic, from what we can see. But there are, I think it has an impact on us. There are certain issues which we have to take into consideration. Firstly, Ukraine cannot win the war. Secondly, President Trump has a mandate to end the war. So you might as well give him a chance to try it out. But more than that, this is the second time there has been a major US-European split in the century. I was in the government at that time in 2003 when George Bush broke on and Europe broke on Iraq. And now, and at that instance, actually Europe allied itself with Russia and China against US. And now you have the other split that is taking place. Somehow or other, I get a feeling that Europe is not very happy with Republican presidents. They seem to be more comfortable with Democratic presidents. But nevertheless, what is the outcome of all this? It is going to be a bigger focus on our area, in Asia and more particularly the Indian Ocean. And that will be the growth area, as I pointed out. India is there, the second largest power by 2050. Indonesia, the fourth largest power. How many more? They will have Saudi Arabia, you have South Africa, you have Iran, you have UAE, you have Bangladesh, we have Thailand, Malaysia, Australia. So this is going to be the key area, and India is going to be the major power. It will dominate it. Then US will be there because of its importance, both for oil, for energy, and for maritime transport, amongst others. And US will stay on in Diogo Garcia, where you have already the negotiations are going on for the Diogo Garcia itself and the whole archipelago. The other is China. China is also going to be here. Remember the China-Pakistan economic corridor and the China-Myanmar economic corridor brings China straight into it, and it links up to the Western China economy, where Chongqing, Kunming and others will grow as a result of their connectivity to the Indian Ocean, and doing all the groundwork, helping us for the last 50 years economically, and other is Japan, with their tradition of working from behind the screen, so that they are not seen. But that's going to be the other important player. So this is what you have. Then, so the key powers are going to meet here. Addition, as I said, you have the important local players like Indonesia, Australia, and even Saudi Arabia would like to be involved. Then there will be the smaller navies. Each navy has a role. It's in this context that Sri Lanka must also decide what is the role that is going to be played by our navy. And in the long term, we will have to increase our naval assets and our air assets to work in this region. This will become more and more important in the next 10, 15 years. So this is important, and I hope we can carry on more discussions on the Indian Ocean, what is taking place there, and both IORA and INS both should focus on this also, because hydrography and maritime domain awareness is going to be a key factor in determining what takes place here. We have to be up to date, and therefore I must again thank the government of Japan for the interest they have taken in strengthening our capacity for MDA. Thank you.